everyone can see this, right? So, so like I said, first I thought that we should continue with our lesson on the measurement, and then I thought that, but before that, I should clarify some of the doubts and pertaining some of the particles, usage of some of the particles. Two of the particles we have already done, but if you want me to go through them again, then we can do that. And so the lesson today will be on introducing some particles with the usage, with their usage, with examples. So I will have examples, and then if you have any questions regarding them, you can ask me. So we're going to, so we're seeing introduce some of the particles are new. Some of the particles we have already discussed, but it seems that there's still a little bit of confusion regarding those particles. So we'll try to clarify those. We'll try to clarify those confusion regarding the usage of these particles. So the first, which is yö. Yö is a particle that is used in many of the daily conversations that we see. We see the usage of yö both in the books as well as we see the usage of yö in many of the conversations that we listen to people while they speak. So yö is a particle. So please remember that you may ask me, what's the difference between yö and duk? And so the first thing is that yö is a particle. So yö is a particle that is used with a sentence or a narration. And when we use this particular particle, that is yö, when we speak or when we write, there's three particular usage of this particle. So there are three particular usage of this particular particle. Okay, so the first one is to show that something is to show the possession of something, to show that someone has something, to show the meaning that someone has something. And in that kind of sentences, we see that there are, so I'll also use this. Later, let me try and use the feature called the whiteboard in later classes. I think that is also quite similar to what I'm using at the moment. So what does a sentence of, possessing sentence? So there are three main things. That is the possessor, the one who possesses, or the owner. Then we need the object of possession. So the object that is being possessed or owned. And then finally, the particle. So the order or the order of the syntax of certain sentence is just according to this. First, you write the possessor or the owner. Then you write the object of possession, whatever is being possessed. For example, if you're talking about a table, it could be a table. If you're talking about a chair, it's a chair. If you talk about a car, it's a car. So object that you can possess. And these could be both tangible and intangible things. What do I mean by tangible and intangible is it can be both things that you can touch or things that you cannot touch, which are not solid. And then finally use the particle yö. And when you have this type of sentence, it's a complete sentence of or narration. You can either use it as a narration when you speak. So it's a complete sentence. So now the question comes, so the question is, what is the type of, so now we're going to go in more technicality of the usage. So, so this probably will be the first time in our conversation class we're talking about a structure of a dialogue. So the first thing has to be the possessor. So let me write a sentence here. Ngala, ngala, chu, ye. So we see that in this sentence, the structure is quite simple. We have the possessor, the owner, which is nga. So let me write this in English. I have 10 bananas. So I have 10 bananas. So you see that in this case, we are talking about possession. So we have the possessor, which is I. Then we have the particle, which is ye. And then we have the object, which is banana, ngangla. So the order of these things occurring in a sentence is according to this. First, you write the possessor or the owner. Or when you speak, you first say the owner or the possessor, the one who owns the thing, the one who has the thing, the one who is the owner of the thing. You have to state that when you speak. If it's I, you have to start the sentence with nga. Then you have this connective particle, ngala. And then afterwards, you have the object of possession. So it could be, in this case, it is 10 bananas. The thing that you possess is 10 bananas. It could be anything. And then finally, the particle ye. So what is the important thing to keep in mind is that this will always be a pronoun. Now one may ask why? Why is this a pronoun all the time? Because the rule states that the usage of ye can only be with the first person. So it's only with the first person and the second person. So the possession, to show that someone possesses something, we must understand that it has to only be related to the first person and the second person, right? So when we say I have 10 bananas, we're talking about the first person. And whenever we refer to the first person, that is us, we will always use the pronoun. We will never use a name. We have our name, but we won't say, like, for example, I won't say Tenzin has 10 bananas. No, this is not how we state a first person sentence. We always use the first person pronoun. So therefore, whenever we are using ye, it can only be. So let me write it here. It can only be pronoun. Sorry, not it. The possessor / owner can only be pronoun. It cannot be a noun. It has to be pronoun. Okay, let me write pronoun in Tibetan. So the pronoun in Tibetan is Ming Tsap. Ming is the name, and Tsap means substitute, something that's used as a substitute for the name. So you can only use Ming Tsap or the pronoun during the usage of ye. So therefore, ngala ngangla chu ye. I have 10 bananas, we're using the pronoun because it's either the first person or the second person. Now, the example here is nga la thep mang pu yu, which means I have many books. Here we see that I or nga is the first person. Since nga or I is the first person, therefore we're using yu. So this is the first usage, and then kera la kika bo shi yu ba te nga la yu ba te nge taring shokpa tongsong. I saw the white dog that you have this morning. And we see that we are using the particle yu here because of the pronoun kerang, which is you. So we see that with the usage of yu, we always tend to use pronouns because it's the first person and the second person. So now the second usage with yu is to confirm that something is situated at a place. So to confirm the position of something, where something is positioned or where something is situated. So this is the entire sentence. This is how you write the sentence with the usage of yu, or this is the way you you speak when you use the particle yu. Now, second one, which is to confirm this to confirm the location of something. First, we need to have the object of which we are confirming the location. Then we have to have location. And then finally, we'll have the particle. And this is the order in which you're going to either speak or you're going to write. So first, it should be the location. The object of which we're confirming the location, then the location, and then finally the particle yu. So let me just write an example. So men kan ni ri harul yu. So we see that first the object, which is the hospital. Let me write this in English. So the hospital is at the other side of the mountain. So hospital is at the other side of the mountain. So first we state the object of which we are confirming the location, Menkang. Then we state the location of that object. Here it's Riparul, other side of the mountain. And then we confirm it with the usage of yu. So here we see that the order is the same as this object, location, and the particle. So here we have to understand that the object and the location is always and always going to be a name. So object and location is always going to be a name. Uh, okay. Yes, we're going to discuss this too. So about the present tense and the future. Uh, okay, so uh, then the confirm. So this is going to be the third usage after that, which is of the time of confirmation. That is, whenever you're confirming in the present tense, it has to be you. Sorry, but still, we must understand that when we are confirming that, it should be at the present tense. But then there is also some then there is certain type of restriction that happens that, for example, if we're saying this in the confirming it in the present tense, but if it's with the third person, what do we do? Then what we do is that we make the for example, what we can do is sometimes we have the usage of the particle yöre, which I'm going to clear now in a little bit. But before that, for example, if we want to say that something is situated here in the present tense, then we will say yö. For example, this is the third usage. It's more or less about the time. So, Hasa Hasa is in Tibet. So this sentence is of the present tense because Hasa is still in Tibet. Present tense, confirmation of location in confirmation of present location. So not only location, but present location. So for example, a restaurant could be here few years ago. Then in between, it could have been moved to some other places. Or you could be confirming something that was there in the past, or something that you confirm in the past. So in those cases, we use other particle, but in this case, we see that yö is mostly to confirm the present location. So this is confirmation of present location. And this is the way you use the location. So the second usage, which is to show the location. And then not only to show the location, but to show the present location, you use yö. Okay, so now the second particle, tuk. Okay, so the question was, what is the difference between tuk and yö? And the difference is that yö is a confirming particle, whereas tuk is a verb that confirms something. So the difference is one is a particle, other is a verb. So there are two usage. The first usage is to show, and per noun to you, per to you, per noun to you. You mean delta? Yes, this is optional. You can either say hasa ni per noun to you, or you can say hasa ni per noun to you. So this is optional. And most of the time, the optional depends on how lengthy how wordy your sentence becomes. If it's too wordy, then you should tend to minimize the words. Like instead of hasa ni per noun to you, if you want to increase, then hasa ni per noun to you. So per noun or per noun is the same. It's like saying 这个桌子 and 这桌子, which means metallic table. So sometimes, for example, sometimes we can use, so in these cases, sometimes we tend to shorten the word, and then we have larpe, senmo, larsen. So you see that in these words, we are making it short, we're shortening it by first getting rid of this, getting rid of both of, this is the companion word, and this is the particle that comes with the companion word, and this companion word, we're getting rid of these, and then we come up with the word larsen. Okay, so therefore, sometimes the particles, the connective particles, like the relative particle delta, is these are optional. So confirmation of present location. So this one, we see that it shows possession of something, but here the usage is with the third person. So the usage is with the third person. So here, unlike the yö, where we said that the possessor can only be a pronoun, in this case, we see that the possessor can be. So the structure is quite the same. We have the possessor or the owner. Then we have the object of possession. And finally, we have the particle. So, but here, unlike the yue, we see that the possessor can be a name as well as a pronoun, because it's third person, so you can also use a third person pronoun like 걔랑 or ko, sorry, like ko, not 걔랑, like ko, 평소. 평소라 칼라망고도. They have a lot of food, or 땡진라, 땡진라 have 먹고 또. So Tenzin has a lot of books. So we see that in case of the duk, the possessor can either be a pronoun or it can also be a name. So it's a choice in this case. So object of possession, it's always a name. So object of possession is always a name because it's an object. And particle, in this case, is duk. We say particle, sorry, but this is actually it's not a particle, it's a verb. It's a verb, so, and not only a verb, it's an intransitive verb. So it's a verb. So we see that in this case, the possessor could be third person, could be either a name or a pronoun. Okay, so the second usage is to be to show that something is situated at a place, or to show that something someone is situated at a place. So the difference between yue and duk, when you say someone is, so for example, if I wanted to say that I am at school, how do I do that? I will use nga, nang, tu, yue, or ko, nang, ko, lo, ha, ru, yue. Now let me raise a small argument here, only by writing a sentence. 콩, 메카도, 도. That is correct because it's the third person. 코, 방울, 로, 차, 루, 도. Okay, so here is 코. Here is 코. So the question is why? So this is very clear because this is the first person, so we use you. And here it's also quite apparent. We say that this is the second person, so we use you. But then why? This is the second person, why are you using duk? And the reason is because, like we said, yue is mostly associated with present location, whereas duk is mostly to do with a confirmation of past location. So, which means he was at the school earlier, which means that my confirmation of this position or of him is So therefore, this is the reason. What happens is that because I'm confirming something that's in the past, this ko becomes him, whereas this ko becomes you. Even the two same word, but the difference is that this is in the present tense, the present situation, whereas this is in the past. So we can say, "Oh, are you at the school?" It's a question, and it's directed towards the second person. Or kobo. That's much better. Okay. So we see that, and then we see that in here if we say ye, that is a confirmation of position in the present tense, whereas this is the confirmation of the position in the past tense. And this is past tense by itself because confirming for the third person. And also because it's a third person, we are using tuk. Okay, now D. So two more particles, D and Te, which are used quite often. First is D. So this particle has 3 usage case. Sometimes people tend to translate these as this is translated as this. That's not a problem. But the translation of this as that is somewhat not correct. So so this particle has 3 usage case. The first one is to point at things belonging to self. So this is a pronoun actually, and it is used in place of things that you're referring to, which belongs to the self. So if I was pointing at a thing that belonged to me, I would say di. Pena di nge nare. This is my house. Since I'm talking about a house that belongs to me, therefore di. And then the second one is to point. So for example, we can use anything that is possessed by I or self, and then you can use ti. Ti nge loptare. Ti nge tebre. Ti nge tropore. So to point at things near to self, so things that are near self, we say perna nangki chi xingdong di. This tree outside my house, or outside the house. Sorry, outside the house. This tree outside the house. So since the tree is near to the person that is speaking, so things which are nearer to the person that's speaking will have this di as a pronoun. So shinkati. The farm that's near my house. So let me just write some more in. So the field near my house. The field near my house. So here we see that since the word near already indicates that something is near to the person that's speaking. So therefore the. But you can also say the field near my house as the. But in that case, it should be the field that is somewhere, not in the present moment. Not when I say present moment, near the person that's speaking at the present moment. We'll also discuss this. So then we have the third usage, which is present tense. So present moment, delo, which means this year. This day is delightful, or today is delightful. So you see that since today is a day that's still happening in the present tense, we're going to use the. The other thing that the is used for is things that are apparently existing or observe or obvious phenomena, which are which are things that you can confirm in front of your eyes. For example, when we say Kangbati, it is a house that is apparently existing in front of you. This house. So now te. Three usage. The first one is to point things belonging to others. Please borrow me that book of yours. Or the book of yours. It could be that or the. So in this case, we understand that we're referring to things that are belonging to others rather than self. So the second thing is, so let me give you an example here. So I wish I wish Denton would borrow me his book or that book of his. I wish Denton would borrow me that book of his or the book of his. I wish Denton would borrow me the book of his. So the book that belongs to Tenzin. Third person, not self, or it could be second person too. In this case, anything that doesn't belong to self, you can use te. Now the second one is to point things which are far to self. So things which are far to the person who's speaking. Parcho ritsete meto mango. There are many flowers on the top of that mountain. Parchok is the other side. So there are many flowers on the top of that mountain. That because the mountain is far. So therefore, te. Then past tense and future tense will be te. Tengen lo, the past year. Chima lo te, the coming year. Something that's in the future or in the past. 가산주기 대 하장기 보충. The picnic yesterday was very delightful. Or 가산 사하 대 야코. Or yaki. 가산 사하 대 야코. Yesterday's restaurant was good. Or yesterday's restaurant was yesterday the restaurant yesterday was that restaurant yesterday was good. So we see that we are using that or the restaurant yesterday. Can either say that or the restaurant yesterday or that restaurant yesterday was good. So we're using it to recall something in the past. 성님 님한테 tomorrow, the day tomorrow is holiday. So this is something that tells us that the two languages are actually different, because we have things like the day that's tomorrow, but in English it's just tomorrow. So sani nimote or sani pungsere or sani nimote pungsere. So te, because tomorrow is future. And then if you're talking about, for example, I told you in this where's the so if we had a sentence like ni kangbe kamki ye kangbe kamki shinka di ye kangbe kamki shinka he. So what's the difference? The difference is that you see in the first sentence we use di, the second sentence we use te. But why? The thing is that when we are using it in the first sentence, it refers to the field that we can see in the present tense. Whereas in the second sentence, we're referring to the field near my house, which is not currently in our sight or something that is obvious to us. It is something that we are recalling from our memory, right? For example, let me give you one more example. For example, let's say we have visited a place in the past, and then if you're there in the at the moment, then this becomes an obvious object, and therefore we use the. But if we are trying to recall it from our memory, then we cannot observe it directly. And since we cannot observe it directly, it becomes te. It is not the, but te. So that is the difference between di and te. One, if a thing is directly observable, something that you can observe directly, you use di. Te, if you have to either use logic or you have to recall it through your memory, which cannot be observed directly, you use te. So these two. Now, some of the pronouns. So the first person pronoun for I, we can use nga, nge, hocha, tak, ni. And all of these mean I. All of these means I. Nga, nge, hocha, ta, ni. All of these mean I. I. So nga, not to she. Not Tenzin in. I am Tenzin. Hocha. Tenzin in. I am Tenzin. Dani. Tenzin in. Neni. Tenzin is. Or ni Tenzin. So all of these are I as a usage of I. Nga, hocha, da, nge, ni. So these are all way to refer to as I. Ku and te and ku are humilific that we have already discussed. These are humilific. So so these are humilific that we have already discussed. So it's used to show oneself as modest or humble. Ngatso and nyetso is V. Now we have ko, ke, kerang, korang, kerang, and not this. And keni is you. Keni. Taki. Opo. In. O. Taki. Opo. In. Kera. Taki. Opo. In. Kera. Ke. Taki. Opo. In. And then ku and kurang is, so we have something called the humilific, right? But ku and kurang is more like degrading terms for others. So if you want to call someone whom you deem lower than yourself, then you say you. Okay, so we have ho and korang, which means he. And Kong and Kongrang is honorific to use for people like lamas. Kongrang. Mo and Morang is she. Kong and Kongrang is the honorific of she. So Ko and Kongrang are terms which can be used for both male and female similarly. So Ko, Kongrang, it's an honorific, it's an honorific. And then Koto is they, and Kongzo is with honorific. For they. Okay, so these are some of the pronouns that we have already talked about. I have sent them in the group, but I thought I should clarify them so that you can use them in your day-to-day conversation. Similarly, these four particles out of which these two are pronouns and are used quite often, as well as this particle and this verb is also used quite often in Tibetan language. Okay, so I thought I should try to clarify these things.
No.
Long ago.
Sa na naro na.
Sanatan no. Do you mean nun? Let me write it here so that I'm getting it correctly. So, right? Sangatang hanar one. Hun can be translated in few ways. Quite interesting, this word. So it could be used as, if we say hun ma, if we use hun with ma, it means earlier. If we just say hun, it means before. And then if we use it with tuchik, hun tuchiklas, which means a time long ago. Not exactly long, a time earlier, actually. Let me tell you why not long ago, because when tutu rinposhi or tutu rinposhi can handle tutu or yun rinposhi tutu hama yun rinposhi handle. So if you were to translate this particular thing, it would be earlier, long time ago. So you can say hama means earlier. So in this case, when actually becomes ago because of the association with this particular particle, it becomes ago. But if you write it by itself, it means a time earlier or before or earlier. When. So when as before, because we have the prefix before, earlier as a time, also the hama also as early. So therefore, the translation will depend greatly on the context. So therefore, I always say that most of the time I say that the words can change with the context. And there's words that have quite the similar meaning. That's the problem sometimes. So yes, and you must also understand that when words or names associate with the connective particle, they tend to have the ability to change the meaning. So this is the case. So if you translate hun, it could be earlier. I came earlier. It could be before. I came before you. It could be a time earlier. A time earlier. Or with a reference to the time, you can also say earlier, many years. Or sorry, it's before many years ago. So you see that whenever hun is associated with la, it tends to change into ago. But if there is no la, it seems to be earlier. So this is the change due to the particle itself. Okay, so does anyone have any more questions regarding today's lesson of the particles? And if you have any questions regarding particles that we have already covered, then I will also answer that. So does anyone have questions regarding today's? We had 4 particles, so 4 particles today. Okay, then I'll take that. There's no question today. And then before we go to the memorization, there's this explanation of the small verse that I have sent in the Telegram group that we had. So I thought I should explain it. So it's a verse actually from the Sakya Pandita in his Sakya Pandita's excellent some of the excellent speech of Sakya Pandita. Like shaping speech, like means excellent, shaping speech, like shape. So excellent speech of Sakya Pandita. So we have the term here. So the verse is Keba Yunde Pang Me Kyang. So Keba is the scholar. It could be it's referred to as the scholar, Keba. So let me just write it. So Keba is the scholar, and Yunten means knowledge, and not only knowledge, the good qualities. Yunten is both the knowledge and good qualities. Yunten, knowledge and good qualities. So Keba Yunten, Pang Me means immeasurable. So Pang Me means immeasurable. Pang means to estimate, unestimate. So it's not estimate, cannot be estimated. So Pang Me means immeasurable. Something that cannot be measured, and something that cannot be estimated. So the first line is Kyang is a particle that says even though, or a scholar, even though a scholar who has immeasurable knowledge or immeasurable. So here we'll translate it as, we'll understand it as knowledge. So a scholar who has an immeasurable knowledge, even though a scholar who has immeasurable knowledge would, Xie, which means other, Yuanden, knowledge, Chuo means little. So Chuo means little. So Chuo means little. So it means that no matter how little or how small the knowledge which is given by the scholar, which is given by others, the scholar who has immeasurable knowledge, despite of having immeasurable knowledge, will take even the smallest knowledge from others. So he will take even the smallest knowledge or the smallest good qualities that other have upon himself. And then so like that, means with consistency, with continuum. Gun means continuum. So with certain continuum or consistency, with consistency that like that. So that is like, that means like that. So like with consistency like that. Jeba means to practice or to do something or to be habitual with consistency like that. With that consistency, which is becomes the omniscient one. Means omniscient one. The one who is all-knowing. Omniscient one is the one who is all-knowing. So let me write that too. So these will be new words for you. So the omniscient one. So the scholar who, despite of having immeasurable knowledge, will take even the smallest and the littlest of the good qualities and the knowledge that others have. And continuously doing it, consistently doing so, that is to take knowledge from everyone, will soon become the omniscient one or the all-knowing. So that is the meaning of that particular verse. So some of the words that I have translated here are the words I felt were important. And if you still want me to, if you still feel that there are some word that you want me to translate, I will do that too. So this was the verse. Okay, now we have the memorization. So those who are able to participate, please choose any number between 1 to 12. The assignment for today will be based on the usage of the will be sentence. So first, so the assignment would be making sentence. So please make 2 sentences each for each of the particle, and 1 sentence each for the word. So let me do it like this. Since I've already made let me make a file of this, so that this also has 2 file 2. Okay, so let me just come here and we go here. Where is it? Where is it? Yes. So this particular file consists all of the words that I have written. So therefore, the new words, try to choose any 5 words out of this new words that I have written, and then make 1 sentence each for these words, and then 2 sentences for each particle. And okay, so before we finish, let me just do one small thing here. Okay, so this will be something that you can have as to help you memorize with the usage of te and di and te. So da là di thắng, xé là te. Da là di thắng, xé là te. Da là di thắng, te thắng, máu te. Thọ nhiều quá lắm. Di thắng, thọ nhiều quá lắm. Thế. Okay, so I think this will be enough because these are the more common usage as we see. So da la di tang, da la di tang xian la te, ta nye wa la di tang ta ring wa la te, ta da wa la di tang te tang ma la te. So I'll just write the English. So D. So this is a small type of summary that you can use for self and A for others. Okay, so you can use this. This is a small, a sort of summary for the usage of tak and d and te. You can either understand it from the Tibetan or the English. So dalati, d for self, anything that belongs to self. Chenate, te for anything that belongs to others. Tanya walati for near, d for things which are near, far for things which are far, te. Tadawalati for present, di, and tang, te, tang, mao, la, te. For past and future, you use te. Okay, so this was the usage, and later on you'll also understand that te is not only a pronoun; it can also be used as a particle. But that will be in grammar class. So this is the file, and this, let me just send this thing in the chat so you can directly copy paste it. I think that would be better. So you can copy paste this, and then you can have this with you just as a small, a sort of a small from of sort of reminder. Okay, so this is it for today. And if you have questions after rereading everything, and sorry that today I wasn't able to send the file earlier, so I will try to do it during the next class. So during next classes, I'll try to send it at least half an hour earlier. So please read these, memorize, and then if you have questions, make sure that you ask me the questions in the class group, or you can directly ask it to me. So you can do both. And since today is Saturday, so did we finish 2 weeks of Kawakara Katora? Did we finish 2 weeks of Kawakara Katora? Or did we just do 1 week of that? So does anyone know if we had this for 1 week or 2 weeks?
Sorry, can't say. Maybe 2 weeks. But
Maybe
I
2
didn't
weeks.
read.
Lasso. So 2 weeks. It seems it's 2 weeks. So Lasso. Then in that case, then tomorrow you'll receive the third portion with the recording. I will send 2 recordings, one fast, one slow, and I'll try to record it in MP4 format so that it's much clearer, and you can listen to it and then study. So I will send the new portion tomorrow. And the thing is that you can, so tomorrow's portion will be of Ka, and it will be of the Lobchung Tai. I think it's from the Lobchung Tai. If we're done with Ka, then we'll be going with Ka from Lobchung Tai, the other text. So we have 2 texts for the spelling. So studying this, what will it do is it will teach you spellings of different things. And like here it says Kawakara Katora. Kachi Kame Kakyang means Kawa, which means pillar, Kara, which means sugar, Katora, which means bow. And Kachi is the thin cloth that is used to make okay, so the homework, let me do that. So homework for today is to write 2 sentences for each particle that so for each of the particle introduced here, 2 sentences for that. And then you see that at the end we have some new words. Here we see that we have some new words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I think we have if so here we have 5 new words. Okay, in that case, these 5 new words, you have to make 1 sentence for each of these 5 new words. So in total, we have 13 sentences. So that will be the homework. So 2 sentences for each particle. Ye, tuk, di, te, and then 1 sentence for each word. So therefore, so you see that by learning this text, you're actually learning new words. So it's very beneficial. So make sure that you study this text, you memorize it, because at the end, it will help you with the spelling and the vocabulary, a lot with the vocabulary, actually. So therefore, please make sure that you study this, and then, and it doesn't matter if it takes time. Definitely, it takes time. So it will take time, but eventually you will memorize it and it will be beneficial. So please do memorize these. And whenever I'm sending the new portion, you can continue, you can memorize those 2. And if you think that new portion per 2 week is too much, then you can tell me and I will send new portion every 3 weeks or every 1 month. Depending on how much time it takes to memorize. So therefore, and definitely, I also understand that memorizing Tibetan texts is quite difficult when you're learning Tibetan. So therefore, thank you very much for putting in the effort of memorizing it. And if you're thinking that it takes time, it definitely takes time because it's a language that you're learning. If it was a language that you are familiar with, then memorization would have been so much faster. So thank you for putting in your effort and hard work in learning this language. And another thing that I told most of you from the beginning is that the classes that we are having is somewhat more difficult in comparison to many of the classes. We are doing it exactly like the traditional way. So there's nothing that is made easier for any one of you. We're doing it exactly the way it is done traditionally. So therefore, it takes more effort, but at the end, it will be worth it. So therefore, please stick in, and whenever you feel like it's too much, make sure that you question me. I'll answer your questions and then try to make it easier as much as possible. Lasso. And uh, so today was like a class where we discussed only the particles. So therefore, the next class we will continue with the unit, and then once we are done with the unit, we will continue with the basic conversation. So the thing is that make sure that you bring everything of these things that we are learning in basic conversation in your day-to-day speaking, so that at the end of the course, not at the end of the basic course, but at the end of the entire course, you can speak Tibetan to a certain degree. So, Lasso, so thank you for joining in, and I will see you for the class in on Monday, right? So we have a class on Monday. So thank you, and I'll see you. I see every one of you on Monday for the grammar class. And thank you, and Tashitele to